What is it that turns doubters to believers? And why did Jurgen Klopp start with that mantra? And why are we not still speaking about that? Or are we still speaking about that? We still toss out so many of the generalisms about Jurgen Klopp, the mentality monsters, the doubters to believers, the ideas of, rock and roll football, or was it like heavy metal football? Or was it classical football? I can't work out which one you want to characterize Jurgen Klopp as at this point. And I'll be honest, I'm in Bled in Slovenia at the moment, or I was in Bled yesterday. I watched the whole game and then I thought to myself, hey, someone else will analyse this. And then I watched someone else's analysis. They didn't support Liverpool, but it was clearly just generalisms about a team which was farming for views. And I'll be honest, it motivated me to make a video. So here we are. If you haven't already hit subscribe at the end of the video when you watched it and you are actually convinced you want to stick around. We don't want subscribers who don't want to be here. Welcome back to the Lawrence McKenna channel, guys. It's really good to have you. Anyway, let's get back to the game. 3-1 away win against Wolves. For the third time this season, Liverpool have fallen behind and come back. For I think it's like 16 wins in a row now in the Premier League that Liverpool are on, and there is clearly something which has changed within the Liverpool camp. And yet, there have been so many changes, so it can't just be one thing. Or is it just... Right, you get what I'm saying though? There is one thing that's changed, which is clearly there is an element of belief. But the players also changed in that time, and there has been such drastic changes, especially within the midfield, but then particularly in this game within the defence, that mean that it can't just be a thing which is down to personnel. And so many people want to talk just personnel with Liverpool. And that is something that's frustrated me for a long time. Klopp, clearly a system manager. Klopp clearly loves positionism. Klopp clearly loves to know where his players are going to put the ball, clearly loves to give them very defined roles that then they make their own. And within that, I think the changes that Liverpool have been going through recently, especially the Klopp-Pep Lingers era, has been that they're trying to find players who fit within that system. Now, that means that in the other analysis that I watched, someone said Cody Gakpo wasn't good in this game. Someone else said Dominik Szoboszlai wasn't good in this game. To define a player as good or bad within a football match, I think is kind of reductive. But I think it does speak to what was happening in the first half with Liverpool. Wolves clearly wanted to get on the front foot because you have to do that against Liverpool, just full stop. Like, you can't not get on the front foot against Liverpool, right? Secondly, they clearly analysed the passing lanes and where Liverpool wanted to get the ball, right? They knew where the emphasis was, and it made it really hard for Liverpool to play their game. They were trying to get into Liverpool's face. On top of that, they were able to do that more because, well, let's face it, like a back line of Robertson, captain, good, love that. Quansah, good. Matip, Joe Gomez, isn't the most confident Liverpool backline. And while they are technically competent, it doesn't mean that there won't be moments where you think, this is difficult. Now, obviously you've got Alisson behind them, right? And I feel like Alisson is a key in everything that happens for Liverpool so often. Either when Virgil van Dijk is in there and when you've got Konate, who I think is the preferred starter, and even then when you've got Trent and you've got Robbo, even then, it's like, hey, Alisson is so key to so much of this. His confidence, the way he receives the ball, the way he gives the ball back, the way that players listen to him, the way that players seem to gain and, I don't really lose confidence, but gain confidence through him. And on top of that, you could see that there was a plan to get at the fullbacks, get in behind, pass the ball back across and get quite simple goals, to be honest. And really, I kind of think that first Wolves goal was preventable. So early on, you're looking at, well, not Alisson to make a save, but Liverpool just not to put him in that position. But then also, Alisson to make a save? On top of that then, you could see that with everything that Wolves were putting at Liverpool, they were struggling because, well, Szoboszlai, a lot of his passes are short. McAllister was definitely struggling when he came back. You could see that Jota looked slightly isolated, wasn't quite sure where the next pass was going to be, and Gakpo was trying to drop deep, do something a little bit inventive, but wasn't quite able to bring things together. And this new role that Salah's got, that he's been given, where he's not quite as wide, he's actually a bit more of a facilitator, comes inside, gravitates more towards Nunez, gravitates more towards whoever is playing that right central midfield position. So that could have been Szoboszlai, probably mostly Szoboszlai, but also then is allowing Joe Gomez that space around the outside. I love this new role for Mo Salah. I love the assist that he gets from it, right? But even then, that narrowness means that Liverpool were trying to get the ball into him and it wasn't quite working. He was either in like his, I don't want to talk about the zones because I'm not sure everyone who's watching will know about them, but like that inside zone, but just outside Liverpool's penalty area. So he wasn't quite as wide as he normally was, and he was receiving the ball in like an uncomfortable position. But on top of that, it was like, okay, then they were straight on him. They just knew exactly where he was going to be, exactly where Liverpool wanted to get the ball, and that was frustrating, right? Going at half-time, Liverpool are 1-0 down. Arguably, they could have been 2-0 down. There was a header that was missed. And, maybe Alisson would have saved that. It felt like quite a simple position to save a header. But you could tell at half-time, Klopp said something, right? And that element of belief seemed to be just reinstilled into the players. It was like, hey, oh yeah, like we are really good. We are the team that should be winning this game. They went back out, and from then on, there's like that dominance graph that you can see where people have got more of the ball, less of the ball, how dangerous they are. Liverpool's graph was just pushing, pushing, pushing. And that goal came pretty quickly. And you could see clearly Wolves were sitting deep. Clearly they were packing the middle where they knew Liverpool wanted to go through. They were very happy to give them those wide areas. But what it meant was there were a lot of those 1-2s, the kind of thing we saw in pre-season, the kind of thing that you could see Liverpool unpacking and getting into very quickly in pre-season was like, hey, if we want to get at a defence that's going to sit super deep, we need to be able to have short, sharp runs, give the ball, and then suddenly you're in a whole other position. It worked with Robbo, it worked with Gakpo, and obviously it didn't work with Harvey Elliott, but the fact that Liverpool had just got Wolves so deep by that point kind of worked with the Harvey Elliott goal, right? Force them back, make them worry in an almost old school fashion Liverpool style, right? Like, when you watch 70s and 80s Liverpool, you think like, wow, this football looks so simple but so effective. And that's partly because defenses are also sitting quite deep against Liverpool. They're very afraid of what a Dalglish or someone like that could do, right? But on top of that, they also don't like Liverpool's movement. They've got these fullbacks which are just bombing on. They've got these inside forwards that are just, well, they're just so creative. And they've got these elements with a Szoboszlai or a McAllister or whoever it is that is like, where is that player going to end up? So when someone like Harvey Elliott comes on and no one really knows what it is that he's meant to be doing, despite, when I say doing, I mean more like they don't know whether he's meant to be deeper or further on. He's sometimes defending, sometimes more progressive. He's really more of a 10. There's something there where you're just like, oh, right, okay, Liverpool have got units now that they just put out. They bring Gakpo off, they bring Diaz and Nunez on. Obviously, it was disappointing to see Quansah go off. I think he actually had the best game of the back line of the whole day. I didn't think Robertson was particularly good defensively, but then he also wasn't bombing on. They were kind of exploiting that the whole time. I thought Quansah was pretty good. I'm not saying he's ready to start every game, but I feel like Liverpool know they've got something in there. And that brings me on to another point. When Liverpool know they've got something in there, they don't give up on those people. So people can be as disparaging as they want about Jurgen Klopp's loyalty to players. But loyalty comes for a reason. You're not blindly loyal to people, right? You bring in players that you think are capable and then you maximize them. And the Rubik's Cube of a guy that is Curtis Jones has been that for Liverpool for years now. When we did our Henderson documentary, right, we interviewed Curtis Jones and he was lovely. Like, he was such a nice guy. He had so much time for us. He clearly wanted to give something in the interview. He was very open and clearly trying to think about what it was that we were saying to him, even if we were asking like quite difficult questions for a footballer to just coldly walk into with no brief. You get what I'm saying though, right? Instant coffee is not good, although that is also really good. Anyway, we kind of spoke to some of the players about Curtis and some of the analysts and some of the coaching staff. A lot of them were saying like, we love him. He's such a positive character. He's clearly got loads of great personality traits that will make him a good player for Liverpool, but he's just not found that position yet. He's not quite found what he does in this Klopp team. But you could see Klopp was like, I want to integrate this guy somehow. So you get what I'm saying about him. And then last season, one of the clicks was him finding a position, was him basically going, I'll take that left-sided central midfield position. And everyone loved it. I'll admit again, there is frustration around him with elements of his game, but there was frustration with Szoboszlai, there's frustration with McAllister, there's frustration with multiple players learning their position with Liverpool at the moment, right? But after that under-21s thing, there seems to be a slow building, a slow level of belief just topping up. And with him, you can see he knows the passes there. You can see he wants to hook up with the other players. You can see he's eager to do what it is that Klopp wants him to do for this side, and I love that. On top of that, he's a Scouser. So he was the only Scouse that started in, I think, even then, it's like, he's the only, Scouser that's come through at Liverpool and is an established Scouser on the pitch at that point. You could maybe say Mo Salah. He's kind of a Scouser, but if he leaves, I'll be... Anyway, the creative position that he's in now is almost perfect for him. Sometimes, still, he holds the ball just a little bit too long. But you can see how key he is to all of this. He clearly wants to be the man for Liverpool, or one of the guys. He knows he looks up to Gerrard. He's learned a lot from a Hendo captain, from Robertson, from all these guys. And having him on that side is amazing. Like, Jota's a great compliment to him. Robertson's a great compliment to him. They both do the things that he doesn't or can't or isn't able to yet. I don't think he lacks ability. I said the wrong words there. Anyway, the point is with Curtis, Klopp doubled down and went, you are going to be in this side. You are capable. Other players said, we know you're capable. Virgil said it to us. Hendo said it to us. Thiago said it to us. All of the guys were like, no, he is a good player. He will be in this side for the long term. Clearly they've been told that, or clearly there was something that from on high that was like, hey, this guy should be in this side. But then you look at it and it's like, he's adaptable. He can play that 8. He could play a deep double pivot like he did for the England under-21s, but it was actually a single pivot, or he could play a 10. And he loves that attacking role. He ends up on the edge of the box so much. Harvey Elliott obviously got the goal yesterday, but what else was possible? The space that he creates because of what he's capable of, and you can see the belief, the confidence, the look of the kid is changed. Finding that position in a squad changes fundamentally how you feel about things. So, I'm proud of Curtis Jones. I love him as a guy. I think he's lovely. He was so lovely when we interviewed him twice. And I would say, character-wise, he suits this side. And he shows that flip from doubter to believer, or kind of doubted to believed. So yeah, without Hendo in the side, without Fabinho in the side, with Virgil van Dijk changing his role as a leader, with him pitch side, post-game, coming up to everyone, being the captain that he needs to be, arguably because of a moment where he wasn't the captain he needed to be, but you get what I'm saying. That was encouraging to see. Klopp embracing, at the end, Harvey Elliott, embracing Diaz, loving those players, knowing that he's got a midweek game, knowing that he's just got his players back from international duty. There's so much going on with Liverpool at the moment. There's a lot of moving parts. So I'd imagine it's so difficult to impart quite difficult tactical ideas onto the players very quickly. So credit to Klopp and Pep Linders. At the moment, it's frustrating they go behind because there's so many games where it's like, why didn't you switch on early? Why aren't you ready to go? Why is it that teams can get at us? But there's also this element of self-solving where it's like, Klopp gives them little tips. He's giving them things like, hey, why don't you try this? Why don't you do that? This guy's coming in here at this. You can clearly see he's trying to move people around on the field, give them quite complex instructions. But then when you look at it, it's like, oh, the players get it. Like, they have been coached. But what they sometimes do is try and work out the opposition, or work out what the opposition is trying to do to them, and then counter that. You can see what McAllister's trying to do. He didn't have a particularly good game. He was struggling to keep up. Maybe you need an Endo or someone like that, or a Ryan in there. Ryan came on late. Just nice to see him on the pitch in a Liverpool shirt. By the way, this Liverpool shirt is so good. I'm not even like, I don't even feel like a deluded like Nike fanboy at this point. I just love this shirt. It looks good when they score a goal. They look confident. They seem to be reminded they're Liverpool players when they wear it. And we've not really quite had that since the title. I think like maybe the first Liverpool shirt where there was like the classic, like V-neck, and that was good. But you get what I'm saying, right? So yes, I am going on about Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. Yes, I am slightly evangelizing. And yes, I think there are elements which look a little bit weaker, like, Liverpool will be gotten at this season because I think they're still trying to find that midfield structure. And let me just be clear. While you're trying to find structure, sure, I can evaluate that. But the players that played today were not the players that I think Jurgen Klopp would have started the season with. He would have had Van Dijk, he would have Konate, he would have Trent in there. Without those guys, this is a good away win. It shows there is belief flowing throughout the squad, not just the starting 11, not just a set of players. Klopp is remaking this team, rebuilding, remoulding. And I love what it is that I see. They're very free-flowing when they can actually hook up their passes. They're very adaptable. They read the game, or at least they're trying to. And I get it, like it's another international break where Liverpool have come back and gone behind, but they won the game. Maybe some of my analysis shouldn't be, there shouldn't be a prerequisite of did they win or did they not. I get it, the first half was bad, but the second half showed what they're capable of. And 16 wins in a row is undeniable. Liverpool again are watchable and box office. And they have been so for a while. It's just that I think they're slept on. And the other analysis that pushed me to this was analysis which was about Liverpool of old, right? The Liverpool of last season when they weren't as confident. It was one of those ones where it's like, hey, Liverpool could be champions, but, are they quite good enough? Just shut up. Liverpool could be champions, but, they probably should be because this team is still forming and they're still getting wins. And the reason people are covering them is because they know they get clicks. Don't click those people. Click where we actually want to have a chat about this. Double down as a community. Don't give people clickbaiting views because it annoys me and they don't care about our team. Anyway, it's been really nice to chat to you guys. Hopefully I will see you again in a little while. Much love. Bye.